So now we're going to be talking about 5-lug swapping an E30. There's a few different ways that you can go about doing this. Some are more expensive than others. This one that I'm going to talk about I think is going to be the easiest one. Not only the easiest, but it's also going to be the most cost effective. So some time ago, a few gentlemen figured out that these hubs from the Z4s, I think from like 2012 and on, they literally are the exact same as the E30 hubs for the rear, except they're 5-lug. I have an E30 one here right next to me, and these are literally identical. The actual diameter of the shaft is the exact same. All of the dimensions are exactly the same. The only difference, of course, is the 5-lug instead of the 4-lug here. And that makes it pretty convenient because all you have to do is literally press in a new bearing on the E30 trailing arm and then just press this one in, and boom, you have 5 lugs. And for those of you that are curious, this is the part number, the BMW part number, and that's another reason that this is honestly my favorite way of 5-lug swapping it, because all these parts are still available, still made by BMW, and you don't have to go look for a part that's literally discontinued and is going to cost you a fortune. So let's go ahead and press these in and take a look at this. Just like that, we have a freshly pressed in bearing. We still have to do the brakes. They're a little bit different, but honestly I won't talk about that until another video, so keep an eye on that because we are doing something really exciting with the brakes. But yeah, as far as the hubs, it's literally that simple in the rear. So move on to the other side, and then after that we'll knock out the fronts. That concludes both sides on the rear, and they both spin freely, so that's really good. So yeah, pretty simple in the rear, like I said, just literally swapping out hubs. But now let's move on to the front. The front will require a little bit more work than the rear, but I'll show you guys what you need to do here in a minute. So first things first, we got to remove all the old suspension from the car, basically everything, strut, lower control arm, the mount, the bushing mount for the control arm, and just pretty much this whole spindle here, so then we can pull it out and compare the old to the new. So now we got pretty much the whole knuckle out with the control arm and the mount. So on E30s, if you want to install coilovers, usually you have to lob off this piece and make like a new threaded insert there for it. But since we're not going to be using the front knuckle, we're going to be using the E36 knuckle. The E36 knuckle is a lot better just because it already comes with 5 lug, and it makes servicing the coilover and just servicing everything else just much easier, as opposed to this one where you have to literally unthread the coilover off of the knuckle to be able to get it out. So I'll show you guys what I got for that as far as coilovers. So these are the Fortunato 500 series. So these are a little bit different than just your regular E30 shock, because basically what I ended up doing was reaching out to them and asking for a custom coilover. So the top is just a standard E30 top hat, but the bottom is actually from an E36, so it'll bolt right onto the knuckle, so I won't have any issues with fitment, or I don't have to do anything custom. So that's really cool. So now what we need to do is just measure these, see, I think I'm going to drop it about 2 inches for now and see where that sits. If it ends up sitting too low or too high, then we can just make adjustments in the future once it's on the ground and we can see what it's actually doing. But like I said, it just makes it a little bit easier for everything to use an E36 knuckle, especially when doing a 5-lug swap, just because you don't have to deal with the coilover being actually part of the knuckle anymore. It's just completely separate. So I did not mention this, but these are E36 non-M knuckles. You can get M3 knuckles, but they're kind of expensive nowadays and you don't really need them. You can make do with these. The only thing different will be that the caliper mounting position is different, so but that won't really matter, and I'll show you guys why once we get to the brakes, but that'll be for another video. But yeah, let's go ahead and throw these coilovers. Well, first we gotta measure and see how much we're gonna drop it, but once that's done, then we can install them. And also for the front 5-lug swap to completely work, you need to get these special mounts with bushings for the control arm, because if you don't, then the whole wheel and the hub will sit too far backward in the wheel well. This will actually change the geometry to make it centered in the actual wheel well, which is what we want, so we don't have any issues while turning or with fitment issues as well. So I got the specific one from SRS Concepts. I know there's a couple other companies out there that make them, but I mean, in my opinion, this was the best bang for your buck. The Fortunato front coilovers. Kind of played around with the height a little bit compared to the old ones. I think I got it where I want to be, but of course we won't really know until we set the car down on the ground and we get a measurement from there. We might go a little higher, might go a little lower, who knows, but yeah, let's go ahead and toss in this side and see what it looks like. quite a bit lower. There's still a significant amount of wheel gap, so we might have to go even lower than that. But let's go ahead and drop the rear, throw the coilovers and drop the rear. Concludes the 5-lug swap. Like I said, pretty simple, honestly. If you're gonna go with the company, I would definitely go with SRS Concepts. Honestly, the most affordable and the easiest one to do. And I mean, as you guys can see the results, everything fits without any issues. I do have a few more parts from them that I will be throwing on that have to do with the brakes. But yeah, I'll talk about that in a later video. Super happy with the way it looks now. It's lower than what it was, but still, like I said, I still gotta mess with the alignment. Gotta make sure that everything's where I need it to be. But looking a lot better. Yep, we'll go a little lower and get the fitment right. Stay tuned, because like I said, we will be doing the brakes and we're talking about that, because that is a whole process in and of itself. But yeah, looking really good in my opinion. All right, well, catch you guys in the next one.